So welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be taking you around a friend's house in Kent, in the countryside. It's a really lovely part of Kent, and she's grown things in her garden. She used to have an allotment, but sadly after her husband passed it was too much. But her garden is a really decent size and there's lots of opportunities here. So the idea is to show you what you could be doing as well. So if you've not already subscribed to my channel, if you could please do so, because you'll get lots of helpful hints and tips all throughout the year from my home garden, my allotment, and also my own kitchen, and sometimes when I visit someone else's garden as well. So this is Jacqui. So I've known Jacqui for a few years now.
Hiya.
And this is her garden. So
hello.
She's going to be showing us tell us what she has been doing and what she plans to do, and I'm going to try and give us some helpful tips to hopefully improve on that.
Excellent.
So
look forward to it.
Yeah. So what was this? What did you do with the garden last year?
This was never designed to be a garden to grow fruit and veg in, but because I've been forced to give up my allotments, I'm now thinking that I'm going to have to grow my fruit and veg in here instead. This is clay, heavy clay. So over the last 10 years, I've been putting in a huge amount of sheep dung, any dung I can find, to try and break up the clay here. So this is the first time, this year is the first time that I'm going to be growing anything I can grow, be it potatoes, tomatoes, beans, any small soft veg. And I've obviously got my trough here, which is for the smaller bits. So I'm starting from a clean slate. I hope I'm going to be successful, and I know with Suzanne's help I will.
I'm sure you will be. Yeah, so this is a great way to start. If you haven't got much room, one of these troughs is really good. The reason why it's so good is because it's so deep, so watering isn't an issue. The really shallow ones, they're really hard work, and I wouldn't genuinely plant things in pots myself, mainly because it makes it hard work. But if you've got no other option and you've got no actual ground space, then pots are your only option. So if you're going to go for pots or like a big tray like this, go for one that's quite deep, because it'll make life a lot easier for yourself. So you can see she's got various herbs and strawberries in there, a little bit of tarragon, some chives, some parsley over here, and also some strawberries in these little terracotta pots here. So there's already a few things going already, and Jacqui's really keen on looking after the wildlife. So even though she wasn't growing fruit and vegetables in her garden last year, she's always cared about the environment a great deal, and has a little hedgehog house there. And you have a regular visitor, you tell me.
We do have one that comes along. I think he's been with us for about 2 or 3 years now. So we're hoping for this year we might have some little ones.
That would be
which
lovely.
Would be absolutely great.
That would be, and they'll pest control slug eaters.
They are.
So they naturally already there for you without having to worry about it. So that's one job covered already. You won't be going around having to sort that out yourself.
No.
So as we move round, so one of the things to bear in mind if you're going to start planting in your garden is you want to think of where the shade's going to be. So you wouldn't want to be planting fruit or vegetables in an area where it's going to be shaded. So all down this side it's quite shaded, and it will be more shaded once all these trees grow. Although they look really beautiful, there'll be too much shade there and you'd really struggle to grow any fruit or vegetables there. So personally I would leave that side as flowers and trees, just your country garden look. As we move over, Jacqui's got a lovely pond there, which that's a reasonably new addition, I think you were telling me, wasn't it?
It's been in for about 2 years now.
2 years, so
2 years.
Again, something else that's really good for the wildlife. You've got your own pest control in there with frogs and toads and what have you, to help look after your fruit and vegetables. So we've got one ourselves, nowhere near as big or grand as that, but not only is it quite therapeutic, but it's incredibly good for the wildlife. So this bit down here at the bottom, like I said, this would be my perfect area to plant things, because it's nice and open. It's going to be really hot and sunny down here. You've got some trees over there, but they're much further over, so you've got quite a big area here where you could already see there's a rosemary plant there. So you've got some herbs there already. But the reason this is so good is if you've really got a fence going along here, so if you wanted to plant tomatoes or climbing beans, you've already almost like got a support there, and it's really nice and sunny as well. So that would be a really good place, I think, to grow a few things. And you could grow it. You could have some courgettes in there because you've got a nice big amount of space here.
Yeah.
I see you've got a bit of rhubarb
Yes,
there.
yes, the rhubarb is already beginning to come up.
Cover it with that and
Yes.
force that on, couldn't you, if you wanted
Yes,
to?
yes, we do that.
Yeah, that would really help.
We do
that.
a few, I think there was more than one there as well coming up.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah, there's two different types of rhubarb.
Yeah, so yeah, again, this pot could go over that, and that could help force it on, so Jacqui could have some early rhubarb. So you've already got a few bits. You said you haven't got anything, but you.
Well, I have got some things. I've got big plans.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I can't wait to
I've
come
got
back.
big plans.
But yeah, this is perfect space. You could fit various things here. Jacqui was talking about getting a greenhouse, which obviously she could do, and this would be a good place for it. But she's actually got a really lovely summer house, so you know that's a really good place that I sometimes put some of my plants in, because it's got an open glass window and it's single pane. And obviously on a hot day, you'd want to open those doors up so it doesn't get too hot. But obviously in the evening when it gets cold and you close them, a summer house is a really good substitute for a greenhouse, and I use mine for exactly the same thing. I've got a greenhouse, but it isn't very good at all, but my summer house has got all its doors and windows in it, so I end up quite often using that, so that can double up. Jacqui's thinking of putting in some raised beds, because she's got quite a bit of room here, and actually making it a bit of a feature. So what was it you were talking about, maybe putting something here, weren't you?
Yes, because the garden is west on one side and east on the far side. The best place for a veggie patch is really going to be right in the middle of the garden. So the plan is to dig up a big patch and put path through it, so I can keep my beans there, and any veg I want to put in, because they're going to get the sun from both sides of the day, so they're always going to be in sun at the best time of the year. So I look forward to doing that, but the only problem is, as I said, I think I'm on clay, so it's going to be quite hard work to dig up the grass again, and put in enough stuff just so that I can get a spade through it.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll know. If it's a raised bed though, you can.
Yeah, I can fill it up.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
and it'd be much better for root, because as Jacqui said, it's quite clayey here, so root vegetables are a challenge. It's not impossible. It just means you've got to dig a lot of organic matter in, to gradually loosen it up, or get topsoil or multi-purpose, or you know, if you're going to put, I should say, if you're going to put root vegetables in like carrots or parsnips, not to over fertilise, so you just have to be careful what your mixture was in your
Yeah, they tend to end up with more than one leg.
They might do, yeah. Some people say it's a myth and some people say it's not a myth. Do you know what? I'd love to hear what everyone else thinks about it. I was reading an article about it the other day, and some people think that's not quite right actually, that over fertilising doesn't do that, and they swear by putting a load of horse manure on their root vegetables. In fact, my father-in-law absolutely puts loads of horse manure on his parsnips. I don't actually. I go on what they say for years and what my dad always did, to be honest, and I don't fertilise on I don't put root vegetables directly in the ground after I fertilise. When I say by root vegetables, things like carrots or parsnips, potatoes are perfectly okay, but ones that create a long tap root. Some people's concern with growing vegetables at home, it's going to ruin the aesthetics of the garden, but both Jacqui and myself don't agree with that, because lots of plants have really beautiful flowers on them, and you can have different colours as well, so you can buy different types of beans where you've got yellow, purple and green, or peas, yellow, purple and green, or bright lights chard, which is lots of different colours, and some of the beans have different colour blooms on them as well. You know, what's the difference between a bean climbing up some trellis than some clematis climbing up some trellis? So it can still be equally beautiful, and leading on to climbing things, particularly good in a garden or where you've not got that much space, because they climb up, so you're take the biggest advantage of the space you've got. There's lots of things that you can get climbing: French beans, runner beans, Obviously you can trail peas up netting and trellis. You can even get climbing courgettes if you look hard enough, and some places you actually see like great big arches of gourds or courgettes or beans, you know, so there's lots of opportunity to make it look actually quite pretty even though it's edible. I remember when I used to travel up to London, and there were very concrete looking buildings and concrete flats, but I remember some having massive sheets of, you know, trellis coming out of these balconies that looked like they were going to fall off, but as the summer progressed they were growing courgettes and other crops on them. It must have taken an awful lot of watering, but it was very beautiful and incredibly productive. I kind of put my hat off to them really, because I've got a massive allotment and they've got a tiny little space, but they've really made the most of it. So I'm really looking forward to see how Jacqui's going to progress this year, and if it's okay with Jacqui we'll pop back to see.
Yes, of course.
Yep,
yes, do by all means come back and take a look.
I'll look forward to that. I might have to bring my frying pan with me to cook something up. So I do really hope that everyone's enjoyed watching this, and it inspires them to grow something even if they've not got much space. I'd love to hear what everyone else is doing. If you've got any questions or queries or concerns about growing things at home, then please do put them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them.